The brightest flames burn alone, not because they lack warmth, but because too many hands have tried to smother them. Chosen one, let's be clear from the start. This world didn't reject you by mistake. The people who turned their backs on you weren't just avoiding you. They were avoiding the mirror you held up to their souls. You didn't do anything to them. You just existed, and that was enough to shake their spirit. They weren't fighting you. They were fighting the reflection of their own weakness in your strength. Let me say it plainly. They were never your enemy. Their fear was. And fear always lashes out when light walks into the room. Now, before we dive deeper, take a second to like this video and subscribe. This message needs to reach more chosen ones like you. And when you engage, you send a signal through the algorithm, like a spiritual beacon cutting through the noise. Help this reach the ones still searching in the dark. Now listen closely. You didn't stumble across this message by accident. The universe doesn't work in accidents. This moment, this exact one right now, was always written. You're here because something deep inside you has been asking questions the world can't answer. You've always known you were different. You've always felt like the outsider in a room full of noise. But that's because your energy isn't for crowds. It's for purpose. Being chosen is not some fairy tale blessing. It's fire. It's a haunting kind of light. Your energy exposes what others want hidden. That's why they distance themselves. That's why you walk alone. The universe marked you with something rare, something heavy, not to break you, but to awaken you. You were born with a frequency that doesn't blend in. It shakes things up. People feel that, even when they don't understand it. And it scares them. It haunts the ones who live small, who conform, who avoid truth. Your presence makes them uncomfortable because it silently asks them, why are you still hiding? So stop wondering why people treat you cold. Stop trying to shrink to fit into their comfort zones. You were never meant to be digestible. You were meant to disrupt. You carry a light that makes shadows run, and sometimes that means you'll walk alone, not because no one wants you, but because most can't handle you. Your isolation is not a punishment, it's a sign that your journey was designed to be higher, not crowded. Too many people around you dilutes your signal, and the universe needs your signal to stay sharp. Because you're here to cut through illusions, not entertain them. And to the chosen one who still doubts their own light, stop playing small. That hesitation is disrespecting your own power. Stop looking for proof when your very life is the proof. You've survived what should have crushed you. You've outgrown spaces that were meant to keep you stuck. You're still rising, and that's not by chance. That's purpose. That's alignment. That's the universe putting its weight behind you. So yes, you felt alone. Yes, you've been misunderstood, pushed out, laughed at, left behind. But every time they tried to bury you, the universe whispered, "Grow anyway." And you did. Chosen one, your energy is a revolution. It doesn't ask permission. It transforms, it triggers, it awakens. And if you ever feel like you're too much, remember, you're just enough to shift everything. Now walk like the universe fights for you, because it does. So before we go deeper into this truth, if anything inside you has been nodding along, if you felt the sting of being surrounded yet unseen, drop the number 77 in the comments. That number isn't random, it's alignment, it's confirmation. It's a silent signal that you're ready to turn your isolation into elevation. Every chosen one who truly knows their path will feel it. This message is coded for you, and you'll know if it's meant for you by the way it hits your soul. Now let's get into it, step by step. Stay locked in. The truth's just getting started. Number 1. too rare for the crowd, too real to be contained. They called it arrogance, but it was just alignment. You weren't too much, they were too small. Let's stop sugarcoating it. They didn't just misunderstand you, they felt threatened by you. Your presence, your power, your purpose, all of it reminded them of what they weren't ready to face in themselves. You didn't even have to speak. Your energy did the talking, and when your light hit their darkness, it exposed everything they were trying to keep hidden. That's why they pulled away. That's why they whispered, pointed, excluded. It wasn't about you not belonging. It was about them not measuring up. And here's what most won't admit. The moment you walked in, the room shifted. The atmosphere changed. You were carrying something bigger than you even realized. It wasn't just your aura, it was the power of being chosen. A silent storm that shook the spirits of those pretending to have it all together. That's what they were really reacting to. You didn't fail to fit in. You weren't supposed to. See, being chosen means being set apart, not as punishment, but as preparation. The universe doesn't hide what it's ashamed of, it hides what it's protecting. And you've been hidden in plain sight, kept away from the noise, the crowds, the false connections. Not because you're broken, but because you're rare. Diamonds aren't found on sidewalks, and chosen ones aren't meant to sit in circles where their value goes unseen. But some of you still don't get it. Some of you are still crying over doors that never opened, people that never saw you, groups that never let you in. Wake up. That rejection was redirection. That distance was divine engineering. The universe was never going to let you stay in rooms that couldn't hold your truth. Every time you tried to shrink to stay small, something blew it up. Not because you failed, but because you were never meant to belong there. And stop doubting your light. That's not humility, that's fear. Every time you question why you feel so isolated, ask yourself this. What if being alone is not the problem? What if it's the path? Because when you're chosen, the universe doesn't build your strength in the crowd. It builds it in the quiet, in the fire, in the dark where no one's clapping for you, and yet somehow you're still growing. That's power. That's the kind of pressure that forges legends. You weren't just picked, you were prepared. Prepared to be the difference, the disruption, the one who doesn't follow the script. And yes, that scares people. It threatens everything that's fake, shallow, and rooted in fear. You are the glitch in their system, the proof that there's more, that truth still exists, that authenticity hasn't died. So of course they pushed you out. They had to. You were breaking the lie. And if you're still wondering why you can't be around too many people, it's because not everyone can breathe where you're going. Your elevation requires separation. Your mission demands clarity. And clarity doesn't come from blending in. The crowd drains your signal. It fogs your vision. You've been called to rise above, not run alongside. You think your isolation is the enemy, but it's actually your armor. It's keeping you sharp, alert, in tune. The more alone you feel, the more focused you become. Because let's be real, half the people around you weren't there to support you anyway. They were there to study you, to copy your energy, to drain your vibe, to benefit from your glow while resenting the fact that it was never theirs. And let's not pretend they didn't try to dim you. Oh, they did. Smiles on the surface, envy underneath. They mocked your dreams, doubted your vision, laughed at your silence. But now they're watching, silently. Because deep down they know you're not one of them. You never were. So chosen one, stop crying over your difference. Start weaponizing it. Your solitude is sacred. Your silence is strategy. Your path is narrow because your calling is massive. You were never meant to blend. You were meant to blaze. And to every enemy who thought you'd break under pressure, understand this. When the universe chooses someone, every force in creation moves with them. That means even your enemies are now part of the plan. Every attack becomes fuel. Every betrayal becomes a lesson. Every rejection becomes redirection. They weren't fighting you. They were fighting the current of the universe itself. And trust me, that's a losing battle. So stop playing small. Stop apologizing for your light. Stop doubting your calling just because others couldn't handle it. You weren't meant for everyone. You were meant for impact, for legacy, for truth. They didn't push you out because you were weak. They pushed you out because your presence revealed their weakness. And now, here's your moment. Drop a 77 in the comments if you've ever walked into a room and felt the shift. If you've ever sensed the tension in silence. If you've ever been left out, not because you weren't enough, but because you were too much truth for the space. That's your sign. That's your confirmation. Every 77 is a flare in the sky, a signal to the others. You're not alone. We're here, and we're rising. Now lean in. The deeper we go, the clearer the truth becomes. And believe this, if you're truly a chosen one, you won't click away. You'll feel the pull to stay, because this isn't just a video, it's a mirror. Let's get into it. Number 2, you carry power they can't translate. They think you're just too quiet or too intense, but what they don't understand is, you're not made for noise. You're built from stillness, forged in the silence where truth speaks loudest. You're not just sensitive, you're tuned. And your frequency, it's not something the average soul can interpret. You don't just walk into a room, chosen one. You shift the atmosphere. Let's make this clear. Being chosen isn't about a title. It's not a crown you wear so others admire. It's a weight, a pulse, a divine pressure that pushes you into places most people are too scared to go. Inward, you carry a frequency that doesn't match the masses. And when you vibrate on a higher level, every lower vibration starts to feel like static. This is why too many people drain you. It's not in your head, it's in your energy. You're absorbing not just their words, but their hidden emotions, their spiritual clutter, their energetic noise. And the moment you walk into a room full of them, you feel it, don't you? That invisible pressure, like your lungs tighten, like your thoughts fog up. That's not social anxiety. That's spiritual frequency mismatch. That's the warning system of the universe whispering, not your environment. You're not crazy. You're connected. People look at you like you're distant, aloof, maybe even arrogant. But it's not pride, it's protection. You're not avoiding connection, you're avoiding contamination. Most don't even realize the energy they carry. They speak positivity while swimming in envy. They smile, but their spirit screams resentment. And because you're tuned so sharply, you feel all of it, even when it's unspoken. You ever wonder why you're always the one who picks up on tension no one else sees? Why you sense things before they happen? Why you feel heaviness when someone walks into the room, even if they haven't said a word? That's not paranoia. That's spiritual radar. And it's not broken. It's precise. But here's the part that stings. Most won't understand it. They'll tell you you're too sensitive, too deep, or reading too much into things. No, you're reading energy. You're decoding frequencies that their asleep spirit can't even hear. It's like trying to explain color to someone who's only ever lived in black and white. You don't owe them an explanation. You owe yourself protection. Chosen one, you weren't made to absorb chaos. You were made to anchor peace. But in order to do that, your space must be sacred, and sacred spaces aren't overcrowded. You need solitude to recharge, to hear your guidance clearly, to stay aligned. The crowd isn't just distracting, it's disruptive. Every person you allow near you is either pouring into your cup or poking holes in it. And if you don't protect your energy, they'll drain it without even realizing they're doing it. Not because they're evil, but because they're empty. And empty people cling. They feed off anything with power. You just happen to carry more than most. That's why you're a target, even in silence. That's why people randomly get irritated around you, competitive, jealous, even if you've done nothing. Your energy exposes them. Without saying a word, you remind them of everything they've buried. You are the light in the fog. And light doesn't argue with darkness, it just shines. But that shining comes with weight, because being light in a world full of shadows means you're always being tested, always being watched, always being pulled. And if you let your guard down for too long, you start to dim, you start to second guess, you start to carry weights that were never yours in the first place. That's why isolation isn't always a curse. Sometimes it's a spiritual quarantine, a divine recalibration, the universe pulling you back so you don't lose yourself in their noise. So stop feeling guilty for needing space. Stop apologizing for protecting your peace. Stop questioning why you don't vibe with everyone. You weren't meant to. You're not meant to resonate with confusion. You're designed to cut through it. And that requires clarity, which means fewer people, less noise, and more truth. And for those moments when you feel like something's wrong with you for being different, remember this. You're not hard to be around. You're just hard to manipulate, hard to fake in front of, hard to lie to. And that makes people uncomfortable. Let them be uncomfortable. Your job isn't to fit in. Your job is to stay aligned. You're here to awaken, not entertain. You're here to lead, not follow. You're here to feel what others are numb to and act on what others ignore. Chosen one, don't fear your frequency. Guard it, master it. It's your compass, it's your protection. And in a world that's spiritually asleep, your sensitivity is your superpower. Number 3, restricted for a reason, separated for impact. Not every lock is a punishment. Some are protection. Some are proof that what's inside is too valuable to be left open. You keep asking, why do I feel so blocked off? Why can't I just be normal, blend in, go with the flow like everyone else? And every time you try to answer that question, the silence only gets louder. That silence, it's not confusion, it's confirmation. You've been restricted, not rejected, pulled back, not pushed aside. And the reason is simple, you're not like the rest. Chosen one, your life has been designed with boundaries for a purpose. These aren't setbacks, they're strategy. The universe isn't trying to limit you, it's preserving you. When the world sleeps, the awakened must be protected because your energy is rare and the system you're standing in was not built to support truth. It was built to suppress it. You feel it, don't you? That weight when you're around too many people. The sense that your very presence is rubbing the atmosphere raw. You walk into a space and instantly sense the shift. You try to shake it off, but it lingers. That draining, unsettling fog. It's not your imagination, it's your insight. You're picking up on things they can't see because most people aren't operating on truth. They're running on noise. The truth is, you've been wondering if there's something wrong with you. Maybe you're too guarded, too intense, too distant. But I'm here to cut through that lie. There's nothing wrong with you. There's something different about you. And that difference is exactly what the universe is guarding. People don't realize what it costs to carry this kind of energy, to live as the mirror, to breathe as the trigger. You walk into their lives and their illusions start to crack, and they blame you for the reflection. So the universe limits who can access you. not out of cruelty, but clarity. Your energy is sacred, and sacred things are not handed out like flyers on a street corner. You think it's rejection, but rejection is protection. Denial is direction. Those doors didn't shut on accident. They slammed shut because what's behind them would have derailed your purpose. And here's what most people won't say out loud. You are a threat to the system, not because you're dangerous, but because you're disruptive. You don't fall for the lies. You don't settle into comfort. You question, you feel, you see. That alone is enough to unsettle the sleepwalkers. That alone makes the energy around you react, resist, and retreat. So when you find yourself wondering why you're not included, why people distance themselves, why being around a lot of others feels like a burden instead of a blessing, understand this. It's divine restriction. It's spiritual intelligence. It's your protection detail working overtime. Because if you were too available, too open, too everywhere, your gift would get diluted, your focus would get scattered, and your purpose would get lost in the noise. You're not antisocial, you're anti-distraction. There's a difference. You're not cold. You're just not interested in fake warmth. You don't pull away because you lack love. You pull away because your love has depth, and the shallow can't hold it. The truth is, you've been pulled back, walled off, kept separate. Not to punish you, but to preserve what's being built inside you. You are a temple under construction, and no one throws a party in a half-finished sanctuary. The world will celebrate you when it's done, but for now, the scaffolding stays up. The doors stay locked, the noise stays out, and I want you to take a second, right now, and just breathe that in. Not with your head, with your spirit. Feel how this truth lands. It's not new information, it's ancient memory. Your soul already knows this. I'm just reminding you. This is your awakening moment, another puzzle piece falling into place. The more you understand why the universe isolates you, the more you realize how much it's been investing in you. Not everyone gets this kind of protection. Not everyone gets these kinds of restrictions. Only the dangerous ones do. The ones carrying something the world can't afford to lose. And if you're feeling this in your bones, if this truth is shaking something loose inside you, I want you to claim it. Drop the number 77 in the comments. That's not just a number. That's an energetic signature. It's you telling the universe, I get it now. I'm listening. I'm aligning. Let the world know you're not hiding. You're being prepared. Let the sleepwalkers know the chosen ones are awake, aware, and rising. Now stay with me, because this truth doesn't stop here. We're only getting started. Number 4, the weight of seeing what others deny. The curse of sight is knowing too much in a world that celebrates blindness. Chosen one, let's not sugarcoat it. The moment you started seeing through the illusions, your path was sealed. You were marked by awareness, not for decoration, but for disruption. While others were feeding off surface pleasures and chasing masks, you were staring directly into the soul of the moment, and that alone made you dangerous. You feel too much, don't you? You walk into rooms and read the energy before anyone says a word. You sense the shift in tone, the lies hiding behind smiles, the silent battles people pretend they're not fighting. And the hardest part? Most of the time, you can't unsee what you've seen. You carry it, like a storm inside your chest. This awareness, it's a gift, yes, but don't let anyone lie to you. It's also a weight, a burden. Because when you can see clearly in a world that thrives on distortion, you automatically become the outsider. Not by choice, by design. You didn't choose isolation. Isolation chose you the moment your spirit said, I can't pretend anymore. Most people are asleep, You already know this. They walk around hypnotized, lulled by media, distractions, material games, and masks that pass for identity. But you cracked through that illusion. You saw the system for what it is, and once you see, you can never go back to sleep. You can't laugh at things that aren't funny. You can't bond over things that feel empty. You can't tolerate the fake just to feel included. So yes, you're alone, but you're not broken, you're awake. From an early age, you probably felt it, like your soul didn't quite fit in your body, like your eyes could see things no one else noticed. You knew when someone was lying, even when their words sounded perfect. You felt the energy shift when someone with bad intentions walked into the room. You couldn't play along with surface-level games, and it made you stand out. Not in a way that people celebrated, in a way that made them uncomfortable. Why? Because your awareness was a mirror, and people who aren't ready to face themselves hate mirrors. You watched your peers fall into shallow things, the trends, the gossip, the endless chase for validation. But your spirit couldn't settle there. You wanted something deeper, something real, something eternal. That hunger, that depth, that's your signal. That's how you know you were never built for average. You carry a burden most can't even see. The weight of insight, the pressure of purpose. You feel responsible for truth in a world that's built on deception. And that burden, it doesn't just come with awareness. It comes with loneliness. Because there are moments, long moments, where you wonder if anyone else sees what you see, feels what you feel, knows what you know. But let me tell you something. That feeling of being the only one is the signature of the chosen. You're not abandoned. You've been positioned. A spiritual leader in disguise. The one who walks through the storm, not around it. The one who stays grounded when everyone else runs for cover. The one who speaks when others stay silent. Not because it's easy, but because silence is betrayal when truth is needed. Your very existence is disruptive. Your presence challenges the lies others live comfortably inside. That's why you're often avoided, misunderstood, even attacked without cause. You are a walking contradiction to the system, and that's exactly what you're here to be. Chosen. 1. Stop seeing your burden as a flaw. Start seeing it as your assignment. You weren't built to blend. You were wired to wake up the world. That means you will walk roads few dare to walk. You will be called to stand while others kneel to comfort. And yes, you'll be alone, but only for a season. Because your energy is so loud, so true, that eventually it will draw others who have also awakened. And when the scattered find each other, that's when movements begin. You weren't sent to entertain. You were sent to expose. You were designed to disturb what's fake, to rip apart the veils others fear to even touch. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be felt. So own your burden. It's not a punishment. It's your compass. It keeps you separate because your purpose requires focus. Your isolation is not your prison. It's your training ground. You are the thunder before the storm, the whisper before the truth hits. You are the warning. You are the wake-up call. And no matter how heavy it gets, remember this. You weren't made to carry the world, just to shake it. Keep going. The silence around you doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're ahead. Number 5. Not built to blend, built to break the mold. The herd moves in comfort, but the chosen carve through chaos. If you're too aligned with the crowd, you're misaligned with your calling. Chosen one, the reason you feel disconnected, the reason you walk into rooms and instantly feel the urge to retreat. It's not dysfunction. It's design. You weren't meant to merge. You were meant to move differently. Your spirit doesn't synchronize with the world's noise because your soul was tuned to a frequency most never hear. You're not here to fit in. You're here to stand out without trying. That's why your presence unsettles. You walk into a space and the atmosphere shifts, not because you're loud, but because your energy carries truth. Truth that makes comfort tremble, truth that exposes illusions. And truth, real truth, doesn't make people clap. It makes them flinch. You've probably wondered your whole life, why do I always feel like I'm on the outside looking in? That feeling is the universe confirming your placement. You've been hidden in plain sight, and not because you're not ready, but because they're not. Your destiny is heavy, your path is sharp, and most people aren't built to handle the weight you carry. So the universe shields you, not to isolate you, but to preserve you. Stop trying to decode why you don't vibe with the masses. You don't vibe with them because you weren't made from the same mold. You were made from fire, silence, vision, and scars. You were sculpted by pressure, not applause. You're not interested in what entertains the crowd. You crave what elevates the soul. That difference alone separates you. You've felt the resistance when you speak truth. You've seen the fake smiles, the subtle distance, the shifting eyes when your words cut too close. That's not rejection. That's a reaction to power. You were never here to be popular. You're here to be purposeful. And purpose doesn't always get a standing ovation. Sometimes it gets isolation. This isn't about being better than others. It's about being built for something else. Most people can live in surface-level conversations, shallow connections, empty repetition. But you suffocate there. Your soul needs depth. Your spirit demands truth. You crave something that doesn't vanish when the trend dies or the lights go out. The truth is, many won't understand why you act the way you do, why you vanish instead of attend, why you stay quiet when everyone's talking, why you walk away when the crowd moves in. They call it antisocial, distant, cold. Let them. You don't owe explanations to those who were never meant to walk beside you. You are wired differently because your mission is different. The masses weren't assigned what you carry. They weren't given your sight. Your ability to see past the mask, hear what isn't spoken, and sense when the energy's off, that's not just being intuitive. That's spiritual precision, and it didn't come easy. You paid for that awareness with pain, with betrayal, with silence, and with solitude. And still, you rose. You are not misunderstood by accident. You are misunderstood because your spirit speaks in frequencies most haven't yet unlocked. You don't resonate with comfort. You resonate with calling. And calling always requires separation before elevation. So if you've been asking, why me? It's time to stop. That question isn't valid anymore. You already know why. Because you're built for something rare. Because you carry a key that unlocks what others have been too afraid to face. Because the mission you've been assigned requires a soul forged in fire and pressure, not parties and applause. Chosen one, accept that you won't walk with the masses because you're meant to lead souls out of them. You're the lighthouse, not the lifeboat. You don't run into the waves with everyone else. You stand on the edge, shining a path through the storm. Yes, it's lonely. Yes, it's heavy. But you're not abandoned. The universe walks with you, guides you, covers you. You've been spiritually accompanied this whole time, through every empty room, every long night, every silent exit. That was never emptiness. That was consecration. That was your spirit being set apart for something higher. Your misalignment with the world is confirmation of your alignment with something greater. So walk boldly now. Stand tall in the space they can't occupy. Speak what they're afraid to hear. Your job isn't to be accepted. Your job is to awaken. And you can't do that if you're blending in. Chosen doesn't mean celebrated. It means separated, sharpened, and sent. Let the crowd stay crowded. You've got mountains to climb and souls to reach. Keep walking. Number 6. You are the mirror they didn't ask for. It wasn't what you said. It was what you reflected. And people will hate you for the truth their soul wasn't ready to face. Chosen one, understand this right now. People don't react to your personality. They react to your presence. You could walk into a room silent, smiling, peaceful, and still the energy shifts. Still the tension rises. Still the masks start to crack. Why? Because you're not just a person. You're a mirror. You don't need to speak truth out loud. You embody it. And that alone is enough to expose what others are trying desperately to bury. It's not personal. It's spiritual. You carry a frequency the masses were never taught how to receive. A vibration refined by fire, sharpened by betrayal, molded by loneliness, and sealed in purpose. When you enter a space, your light doesn't just shine, it reveals. And not everyone is ready to see what your light exposes. Most people are walking contradictions, saying one thing, thinking another, living in conflict with their own spirit. But you walk aligned. You live by truth, even when it costs you comfort. You've been cracked open enough to feel the world for what it is. And that energy, that clarity, it cuts through the air like a blade. That's why strangers open up to you. That's why people dump their emotional baggage on you 5 minutes after meeting. Why they come to you for peace, wisdom, clarity, but then pull away when they start seeing themselves in your reflection. You didn't hurt them, you didn't offend them, you mirrored them, and they weren't ready for what they saw. You have been chosen to disturb the illusion, to carry an energetic frequency that short-circuits the system. That's why some people recoil when you walk in. It's not your outfit. It's not your words. It's not your silence. It's your alignment. It's the divine signature in your spirit, the one that screams, "This one can't be fooled." Your presence alone calls the masks into question. People sense it without understanding it. Their unconscious mind detects the truth in you. And truth is threatening when your identity is built on lies. And that's where the friction begins. You may have been judged unfairly, excluded quietly, envied irrationally. But let's be clear, those weren't accidents. That was their spirit recognizing what their mouth couldn't say. You are the storm that makes their shadows tremble. Don't let this make you bitter. Let it make you aware. Let it refine your discernment. You were never meant to walk easily among the unconscious. Your frequency is protective, not just of yourself, but of the truth you carry, and the universe will not let just anyone near you. That's not isolation, that's divine security. You've been marked, not just with vision, but with responsibility. Because light doesn't just illuminate what's beautiful, it reveals what's broken. And while some will be drawn to your flame for healing, others will run because they can't stand the sight of their own unhealed wounds. And so, they project, they mock, they resist. Not because of who you are, but because of what you represent. That's why you've lost people without explanation. That's why certain energies just couldn't stay in your presence for long. Your spirit triggered their reckoning. It whispered to them in silence, "The time for pretending is over." And many chose to walk away rather than face themselves. Let them, chosen one, stop shrinking to be digestible. Stop softening your truth to be tolerated. You weren't built for their comfort. You were built for their awakening. You are a walking reminder that there is more, that there is real, that there is light. And not everyone will celebrate that. Some will fight it, some will fear it. But none of that changes your assignment. And never forget, your rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reaction to your frequency. The higher you rise, the less company you'll have. Not because no one loves you, but because not everyone can breathe where you're going. So when you feel that tension, that sudden shift in people's tone, that silent withdrawal after deep connection, don't chase it, don't question it, recognize it, respect it, release it. You are not here to blend. You are here to awaken. You are not here to be everyone's friend. You are here to be the flame that either warms or exposes. And the reaction says more about them than it ever will about you. You are the mirror in the madness, and mirrors don't lie, they just reflect. Keep shining, even when it makes the shadows scream. Number 7, isolation isn't punishment, it's sacred preparation. Before the chosen are revealed, they are removed. The silence isn't your exile, it's your elevation in disguise. Chosen one, listen closely, because this right here is one of the greatest deceptions the world has tried to place on your path. The lie that your isolation is evidence of something wrong with you. That because you walk alone, because the crowd doesn't call your name, because no one seems to understand you. You must be broken. But the truth? You are protected. And that protection doesn't look like comfort. It looks like distance. You've cried in quiet rooms, questioning the silence. You've looked at your reflection wondering why everyone else seems to move in flocks while you move through fog. You've mistaken loneliness for abandonment. But let me tell you now with unwavering clarity, this path was carved for you with intention. Your isolation is not a flaw. It is a sacred assignment. It's the invisible hand of the universe, pulling you away from the noise, so you can hear the whispers that can't survive in crowds. You are not being deprived. You are being developed. Look around. The world glorifies attention, clout, connection. But those things cloud the spirit. You were not called to be distracted by the many. You were called to be anchored by the mission. And that mission can only be sharpened when the noise is gone, and the only voice you can hear is the one within. Chosen ones have always walked alone, not because they weren't worthy of company, but because their calling was too powerful to be diluted. You don't forge warriors in comfort. You don't build clarity in chaos. And you don't prepare messengers in the middle of the crowd. The universe has been separating you to prepare you, to activate parts of you that only come alive in the silence. That sharp edge of discernment, it was honed in your quiet seasons, that inner knowing that's kept you safe. It was born in those long nights where you had no one to turn to but your own spirit. And don't let this world confuse solitude with failure. Remember the pattern. Every true force is formed in isolation. A sword is sharpened alone. A seed grows in darkness before it breaks through the soil. A storm brews in silence before it shifts the sky. So why would your story be any different? You were pulled away from the masses not to punish you, but to preserve the purity of your power. Because truthfully, not everyone deserves access to you. Not while you're still in development. You are not just anyone. You are an assignment wrapped in flesh. And if you were too accessible, you'd be constantly exposed to distractions, spiritual leeches, and emotional warfare that would sabotage your alignment. So yes, the separation stings, but it saves you. You've been shielded from relationships that would have drained you, connections that would have confused you, and crowds that would have clapped for your destruction. Because when the universe marks someone for impact, it does not let them move like the rest. You're not in hiding. you're in formation. Isolation is not your tomb, it's your training ground. In solitude, your spirit breathes. In stillness, your vision sharpens. In silence, your instructions get clear. You weren't meant to bloom in the open field. You were meant to grow in the wilderness, where no one sees you, but everything in you is being strengthened. So let them talk. Let them wonder where you went. Let them think you've fallen off or disappeared. They don't know the universe has you in lockdown for your breakthrough. You're being equipped for elevation they can't even imagine. And when the time comes, when the alignment hits, you won't just reappear. You'll emerge, whole, ready, unshakable. So if you're still asking, why am I so alone? Stop. Ask instead, what is the universe preparing me for? Chosen one, your silence is a signal, your distance is a doorway, and your isolation, it's not empty, it's everything. Stay there, stay hidden, stay aligned, because the ones the universe sends to awaken the world are always trained in the dark. Number 8. You were chosen to change the frequency. Some are born to follow the rhythm. You were born to become the beat that resets the world. Chosen one. If you're still here, still locked in, still breathing with this message, then understand something deep in your bones. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't just another video or voice in the void. This was a mirror, a calling, a wake-up strike to the soul. Because your spirit recognized the truth, even before your mind could name it. You've spent so much of your life bending, breaking, folding yourself just to make your energy a little easier for others to handle. You dimmed your voice. You diluted your truth. You played small, hoping to be accepted, when in reality, you were never sent here to be accepted. You were sent here to interrupt. You were chosen to shatter what's fake, to challenge what's shallow, to carry a frequency so rare that it doesn't just inspire people, it forces them to evolve. You didn't come here to blend in. You came to rewrite the signal, to shift the energy of rooms, generations, bloodlines and systems that have run on autopilot for far too long. And that's why you've never fit in. That's why you've always felt a few steps out of sync with the world around you. It's because your rhythm was never meant to match theirs. You were wired differently. You were timed for something higher. You've been walking to the beat of a frequency that others can't hear, but deep down, they feel it. That's why they react the way they do. That's why you're loved in silence and hated in confusion. You're not just a person. You're a shift. And let's be real, carrying this much energy isn't easy. Being different might sound poetic, but it's lonely, it's heavy, and it's real. You've battled self-doubt, betrayal, exhaustion, and moments where you questioned whether the mission was even worth the pain. But look at you, still rising, still standing, still searching for the truth that confirms what you've always known inside. You are not lost, you are being positioned. The reason you haven't been able to fully align with the masses is because you weren't meant to reflect the world. You were built to reflect the truth the world forgot. You weren't called to be loud. You were called to be clear. And clarity, it breaks illusions. That's why your presence triggers people before you even speak. That's why they project, distance themselves, or envy your peace. They don't understand it, but their spirit feels it. And feelings don't lie. You are the one who shows up and makes the fog lift. The one who walks into chaos and brings alignment just by standing still. You're the one others watch in secret, hoping to understand what it is you carry, not realizing what you carry was never meant to be explained. It was meant to be lived. Chosen one, your time of hiding is over. No more asking for permission to be who you already are. No more seeking validation from those who were never built to see you. No more shrinking for comfort or tiptoeing around your light to keep the insecure from burning. From this moment forward, walk with power. Walk like you are handpicked to shake timelines. Walk like your ancestors are watching and your future is being written in real time. Because it is. The universe has backed you since your first breath. Every storm, every betrayal, every moment of silence was preparation for this exact phase of your journey. And now, it's not about waiting, it's about accepting, stepping into alignment, moving like you know who you are. Because when you do, everything around you begins to shift. Not because you're chasing change, but because your energy commands it. And if something inside you has been screaming, "This message is for me," then don't let that voice go unanswered. Comment below, "I accept my assignment." That isn't just words, that's spiritual agreement. That's a declaration that you're done sleeping on your own power, that you're done denying what you've always known, that you're done walking in fear when your feet were made for fire. Let the world know the chosen ones are not just waking up anymore. We're activating. We're stepping forward. We're walking with eyes open and spirits aligned. This is your confirmation. This is your reminder. And chosen one, this is your moment. And now, as we close this journey, let this truth settle deep in your spirit. You were never meant to blend in. You were chosen to break the pattern. Everything you've felt, everything you've faced, was preparing you for this moment of alignment. If this message awakened something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video to push the frequency further. Subscribe so you never miss another message meant for your spirit. Drop 77 in the comments if you're claiming your path as a chosen one. And most importantly, share this with someone who needs the reminder.